Hi, ambitious mamas. It's Lisa Brincat from Tipping Point Consultant here. I'm here with Anna today. Hi, Anna. Welcome.
Hi.
I just would love for you to just give us a little bit of an introduction and tell us about what keeps you busy.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Anna. I am I guess I'm a birth coach and a motherhood mentor. Basically, I'm a childbirth educator, so I run birthing workshops and online programs for people that are looking to have the birth that they want, not necessarily what they've been told they need to have. And also then to be able to come through that experience really positive and empowered. Instead of confused and overwhelmed. And, a lot of us come through really shaky and feeling like that wasn't what I was expecting. And so basically I help them make sense of what it is they want. Not everybody wants to have a natural drug-free birth in the rainforest, but there's nothing wrong with having that. And a lot of us do end up with some kind of intervention, and so it's being able to prepare ourselves ahead of time for that kind of stuff. And then I also work with mums that are struggling with the overwhelm of modern parenting, which quite frankly is a bit insane. And so I help us to, I guess, find our parenting centre, avoiding the pitfalls that really send us on that downward spiral.
Yeah.
And helping us to stop yelling or to start, enjoying this whole parenting journey a bit more.
Yeah. I think from some of the conversations we had before, it's interesting. I think in terms of parenting styles, there's actually a lot of focus on labeling them, and I really like that idea of actually coming up with your own, connecting with your own intuition around what it means for you.
Yes, exactly. Because I think as soon as we start identifying with a particular camp, we actually stop listening to our intuition and we start following what other people are doing. And while it's important to be able to listen to other perspectives, because somebody has gone through what we've gone through before. So finding out what's worked for other people in similar circumstances can be really helpful, but we still don't need to copy exactly what they did because they still don't have our child.
Yeah.
And
you talked a little bit before we started the call about your health sciences background, and how you combine a number of different techniques around what you've researched, around your time in doing meditation, what you know about neuroplasticity. So a bit of a combined approach. I think, where do you the neuroplasticity in terms of child raising really is really interesting to me as a concept, and I'm throwing this at you. Sorry about that, but do you think our parenting, the way that we parent, conforms to the same kind of principles around neuroplasticity?
Yes, and actually, I love that you've thrown this at me because this is exactly what I teach.
Yeah.
So basically, the way that we were taught, the kind of things that were done to us as we were being parented, did a whole lot of stuff to our brain structures and to our nervous system. So number one, they taught us how to deal with stress. And for almost everybody on this planet, that wasn't in a very helpful way. So a lot of us don't actually know how to handle stress effectively. And we do quite a number of things that often lead to us in burnout. So there's managing the stress, but then there's also the words and actions that we experienced as children. They kind of get imprinted in our brain. So our brain makes these neural pathways, and they're kind of like a lock and key kind of process. So we have these triggers. So this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then our brain takes on a reactive pathway. So it might be a particular form of defiance that we get from our kids, because all kids defy us. That's what they're supposed to do. So a particular look or in their eye, or a particular word that they say, or a particular body stance And that is something that we would have done to our parents. And when it's done to us, it triggers the responses that we had. So don't you give that look to me. Do what I say. I've asked you 5 times, now go do it. And that's probably the G-rated version of what actually happened.
Yes, yeah, no, pretty much.
So, and then afterwards we're left going, I promised myself I would never say that. I promised myself I would never do that to my children. Yet unless we become aware of it, we're actually powerless to change it. And on top of that, what we're doing is we're passing that pattern on to our children. So this is where that intergenerational stuff happens. The other thing that we do sometimes is that while that's being done to us, our brain, as children, our brain creates an alternative scenario. And we flip, because we're not being showing the happy middle ground. That's kind of like this extreme or this extreme. And in such an effort to not do what was done to us, we do the complete opposite, which still is not any kind of happy middle ground. And unless we become aware of these patterns, and unless we start to undo some of these structures, then we're powerless against our neural pathways.
Yeah. Oh, that makes complete sense to me. And yeah, I think it is always interesting. I know there's a great like quote that goes around that says, sometimes I open my mouth and my mother comes out.
Exactly.
And what's interesting is that she probably says the same thing.
Yeah. And I think there's a reason that a lot of us have such a special bond with our grandparents. Yeah. And I think it's because there's that slight shift away from whatever, like the opposite of what was done to us. So yeah, I think that's where this.
Oh, that's a really interesting point. I like that. And what is it for you? What is it that gives you sort of inspiration to do all of the different things that you do? Two kids under 4, running your own business, keeping up with these modern demands of being a modern woman, modern mother. Yeah. What are some of the things that give you inspiration?
Well, one of them probably is not such a positive inspiration, and that is I really want my kids to not have to recover so intensely from their childhood as what I've had to recover from mine. And this is not, my parents were very well intentioned. However, I've really had to do a lot of recovery, and I'm still recovering from my own childhood. And without any blame, because as I said before, we're basically repeating patterns of what was done to us. Yeah. And again, no criticism on my grandparents, and especially my mum's parents. I love them dearly. I want to break that cycle for my kids. Aside from that, I wholeheartedly reject this idea that the perfect mother is totally self-sacrificing and basically lays down and dies for her children. I want my kids to come out the other side and see a mum who isn't falling apart because her whole reason for living has gone. I want them to grow up with a mum who has her own identity, who lets her own cup be filled, so that I can be there more for my kids. And I do know that when I'm working part-time, I'm a much better parent than if I'm at home full-time.
Yeah,
because I've got that. I'm me again, and instead of running on empty, I've got that. Yeah, I'm filled.
Yeah. Oh, you put it so beautifully. Thank you so much for joining me today to share this. I think talking to you, you've expressed a lot of what I find really hard to express.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Look forward to chatting with you again.
Excellent. Thanks, Lisa.